Hey, my name is Noi Necrolord. That was a pretty fast boss kill, and that was even with unoptimized gear. Today, I will tell you why Poison Rogue is the way to kill the world boss and how you can level it in the most efficient way. We all know Rogue is pretty good at clearing dungeons, but Rogue brings more to the table than just that. And if you want to get all the Rogue and also Druid news and want to see exciting Diablo 4 gameplay, then leave a like and a follow to stay tuned with this channel. First of all, let's talk about the strength of Rogues. The biggest strength we all know is their movement. They have insane movement abilities like Dash and Shadow Step. Those abilities make it possible for us to stick to the boss while also dashing out of the one-shotting abilities. It helps us to have a high damage uptime, but it's not the biggest strength. The biggest strength is their specialization called Inner Sight. Inner Sight marks an enemy, and if you attack a marked enemy for more than 4 seconds, you have unlimited energy. And let me tell you, that's pretty big. Inner Sight enables you to spam your core abilities, and they do most of your damage. Combine that with the newly buffed Poison Imbuement from the last beta, and you have a pretty strong build. Side note, all classes got nerfed, even Rogue. Their core skill got nerfed, you get less cooldown reduction back from your attacks. But Poison Imbuement got buffed from 70 to 100% damage. And I would say let's jump right into to see how you have to skill and what's the best way to really shred a Shava. The build planner I'm using is d4planner.io. You can also use the Lothric build planner. There you have the newest updates already for your skills, but I have everything inside my head, so I will use this one because it looks the prettiest. We start by putting skill points into our base skills. And as you can see, I put those points live with you into the tree. We will use Puncture. Puncture is an amazing base skill. Why? Puncture lets you CC enemies, and it's also a range spell. Range spell, it will be important later on, not for the beta, but just keep it in mind. Why CC is so good? We can kite mobs more easily, and also when you have on your weapon, for example, plus damage to CC'd targets, that applies also for slows. But the main reason we're taking Puncture is because later on, we won't skill it now, but later on we get the ability to make enemies vulnerable with Puncture. 100% chance, and that's so good because the vulnerability is a debuff for enemies that makes you do more damage. It's a multiplier, which is really insane and helps the group out also a lot. Before we take this point, after spending 2 points, we can skill our main ability, which is Twisting Blades. Twisting Blades has many effects. First effect, you damage the enemy. 45% base damage. You stick your daggers or swords into the enemy and then they're marked. They get 8% more damage from all types of damage you do. You can still continue using Twisted Blades even if your swords are in the boss, whatever. And then after a while they come back to you, and the moment they come back, they do additional damage. And if you have the legendary, which we really wanna get, the Twisting Blades legendary, they also spin around you. And all of those damage instances apply poison if you used Poison Imbuement before. That's why it's so good. So we will put 1 point into our core skill, and now we put the last point into puncture to make enemies vulnerable, to get this big damage amplifier. Now we advance into the Twisted Blade passive, don't want to say tree trick. The next point is the return damage is increased. And the last point, Advanced Twisting Blade, it was really good back in the old beta. And here you can see the old stats. Every time the return damage or instance did damage, your cooldowns were reduced by 1 second. That got nerfed pretty heavily. Now it only gives you 0.25 cooldown reduction back. It's still really good and worth taking it, but yeah, as you can see, heavy nerf. Now, after we skilled Twisted Blades, we can now put our points into our mobility spells. And you could also max out damage now, but it wouldn't be as effective for clearing or leveling. That's why we take Dash first. Dash is the spell that lets you dash to the target or out of zones you don't need a target for the spell. And Shadow Step is the one where you become unstoppable. So if you are CC'd, you can get out of the CC, which is pretty good in hardcore, by the way. I would take this one first. And you can stick to targets, but you can't really jump out of effects if there's no other target. It's really for doing continued damage. After we took those two skills, we put our points in Twisted Blades. All points that are left. So we have now maxed out Twisted Blades for most possible damage. We have done that, and now we enhance in the passive trick for Twisted Blade, for Shadow Step and Dash. Dash, if we dash through enemies, we do more critical strike damage. It's nice to have, but whatever. And Dash also slows enemies. That's more interesting for kiting. For Shadow Step, higher critical strike chance, gives us a little buff, more damage overall. And also, that's the nice one, if we haven't targeted an enemy with Shadow Step in the last 4 seconds, our Shadow Step cooldown is reduced by 3 seconds, so more uptime. If you do that, put those points in, you are enabled to take your improvements. And as a poison rogue, of course, we take which improvement? You got it right, cold. Just kidding, I'm so funny. We take the poison improvement. We put 1 point here, and then passive trick to get the most out of it. Increase the poison duration by 1 second. And now, here's the thing. There are 2 ways. Critical strike with poison imbued skills deal more poison damage. It got buffed by from 30% to 75%, also increase. And poison improvement also got buffed from 70% damage to 100% damage. So that's huge. It makes it the best one, especially early on, because it's all about base damage for single target. Here, which one you gonna take? If you have good crit, you can go this way, it's big. If you have high crit chance already. If you don't have high crit chance, I would recommend the lucky hit. Note, the reason is you attack pretty often, so chances are high that you get double the damage. So if you round about, let's say 15 to 20 crit, take this one. Otherwise, go for the poison improvement. Mixed poison improvement. Now we are level 19, and level 19 is actually, those are the skill points you just get from your level. You can get 2 more skill points from Renown if you do activities in the Fractured Peaks, side quests, and also collect Altars of Lilith. The chances are pretty high that you get 1 more point without doing much. So I would recommend you using Shadow Imbuement with the extra damage. It would help for clearing trash, and you can mix those impuments. You can go for the path instead of taking Poison Imbuement, if it's just about dungeons, going Shadow Imbuement first, then Poison Imbuement. For bossing, actually, I would recommend Poison Trap, 1 point as your extra skill. The thing I'm gonna do is Cold Imbuement. I want to test it out. My endgame build I planned will be about poison and cold impuments, using both of them. You also can go for concealment. You have another unstoppable effect, and also you can jump into stealth, which is nice. We can't use the ultimate, that's the thing. Therefore, you have 1 slot left. If it comes just for doing the world boss, on hardcore, I would take concealment. On softcore, I would take Poison Trap as your last point, and then also that, like, knocking down a Shama doesn't bring much to the table. I would put 1 more point in Poison Imbuement for your last point. That's how I would try to beat a Shava. Conclusion, Rogue is insane. And it will be my main class. I'm super excited. And if you think, damn, this guide was pretty cool, I had fun, I enjoyed it, leave a like, follow me to stay tuned, because there will be much more Diablo content. I'm excited about the game, I'm really passionate. Since the announcement, I can't stop thinking about it, and I want to share content with you. It's a lot of fun from Twitch to YouTube, so I hope you enjoy it, and slay Shava. And never forget, Poison Rogue, this is the way.